Ellen DeGeneres recently abandoned her life in the States, vanishing into the English countryside under the guise of a quiet retirement. But the internet has exploded with a terrifying new theory about why she really left. Shocking new allegations have recently surfaced, suggesting that the beloved Be Kind daytime host was actually operating as the Ghislaine Maxwell for Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein's darkest syndicates. Critics and online sleuths are now pointing to a disturbing paper trail, claiming her massive, family-friendly platform was allegedly used to disarm vulnerable young stars, acting as a trusted bridge that connected them directly to the industry's most notorious predators. By making inappropriate behavior seem like casual celebrity humor, critics argue she helped normalize the exact environments where terrible things happened. To understand how a universally respected television icon could be accused of being the ultimate facilitator for a dark, elite syndicate, you have to look at the deeply twisted games she was playing right in front of our eyes.
You just brought a friend to Bora Bora?
Yeah.
And you're just naked with your friend?
Why are you putting me on the spot like this? Gosh.
I mean, you can say, why can't you say you're dating somebody?
I'm not dating anyone.
Ellen was like really weird and not nice to me for most of my career, and like, because I opened for her in the 1980s.
All right, let's do this. How do we know if someone is a cannibal?
Actually, nothing I wouldn't eat or wouldn't drink or wouldn't try.
If the person okayed it, I would eat a human.
If you were at a very fancy restaurant and they were like a tiny piece of human meat.
No. For over a decade, the world bought into the illusion of her perfectly manicured set. But behind closed doors, a very different, deeply psychological game was being played on anyone who walked into her orbit. The first real cracks in Ellen's impenetrable armor didn't come from a massive scandal, but from the people who worked for her when the cameras stopped rolling. Former writer Greg Fitzsimmons recently sat down for a podcast interview and ripped the lid off the highly toxic environment inside her production offices. He described a workplace ruled by absolute psychological warfare. You would walk into her massive, lavishly decorated office, sit on oversized leather couches, drink cappuccinos, and feel like you were part of this loving, creative family. But that warmth was entirely conditional, and it could be weaponized in an instant.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the biggest guy in the world, but you're not a pussy by any means. What was so bad about Ellen?
It was psychological. It was like this thing where, we go into the writer's room, we get to work at whatever, 9 a.m., and then we go right into her office. She had this big office,
right.
And we'd sit around, there was like overstuffed chairs and like leather couches. Very cool. We sit there and drink cappuccino, and it was like a loving environment until, like I remember one time I made a joke about Justin Bieber. And she goes, I love Justin Bieber. And it was like, oh, so nobody else can have a different feeling about Justin Bieber because you like him? And then she iced me. And then every joke I would tell for 10 days, she would literally not react and look away and say, all right, who's got something else?
Wow.
And so it was this thing where she would push you out of the circle and then pull you back into and when she pulled you back into the circle, oh my God, hand on the leg, laughing at what you were saying, and so for me, it wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
But for other people that had mommy and daddy issues, and she, when you're working 14-hour days and she's the boss, it becomes a very powerful dynamic. That person's approval starts to meet, especially when people are getting fired constantly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just being ostracized from the circle; it was genuine fear for your job. And so everybody felt that fear.
It was a culture built entirely on genuine fear. But the psychological control she wielded over her staff was nothing compared to the deeply uncomfortable situations she forced onto her younger, more vulnerable guests. The internet has recently started digging through old archives, and what they are finding is making people sick to their stomachs. Specifically, people are rewatching her old interviews with a teenage Justin Bieber.
Lauren, it was fun.
I can't believe you got in that water.
It was so cold. It was like 50 degrees.
Look at you. So it's a beautiful video. So if you want to see the whole thing, it's gorgeous. Speaking of you in your underwear, let's talk about the paparazzi shot in Bora Bora.
Okay.
So you are obviously in a private bungalow.
Yeah.
And because usually we're all pretty good at spotting paparazzi.
Yeah.
They hide in boats and pretend to be fishermen, and we're like, you're paparazzi. I mean, we're pretty good at it. How did you not see that there was paparazzi there?
Well, I just didn't see them. I think I wasn't really looking out for them either, so.
Was there a boat, when you think back on it now, can you see where they may have been? Were they in a boat?
Yeah, they're definitely in a boat. Yeah.
And how quickly after that was shot did you realize that happened? Did that go on wire right away?
Yeah, it was pretty much like a couple days. It was like a couple days later. Scooter hit me. He was like, "Yo, I hate to tell you this, but your penis is on the internet." I was like, "What? How does?" And so then the first thing I saw was like the censored one, and it had like the black thing over it. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" Like I don't know what this is gonna look like. And then it wasn't as like bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible.
I'm no expert, but I heard that it was good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, what amazed me, though, is that got so much attention, and I was in the bungalow next to you, and when I saw it, I was shocked.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people didn't see. I was right there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's funny.
My hat! So there's a young woman in the background you can see in the bed.
Yeah, I know.
Is that your girlfriend?
No, it's not.
Just a girl that you were in Bora
Just a
Bora
friend.
with?
Yeah.
You just brought a friend to Bora Bora?
Yeah.
And you're just naked with your friend?
Why are you putting me on the spot like this? Gosh.
I mean, you can say, why can't you say you're dating somebody?
I'm not dating anyone, though.
She's just a friend?
She's just a friend.
Wow. I have friends, I've never seen them naked like that. And they don't bring me to Bora Bora.
Stop. You're making me blush, dude.
And it does not look like awkward daytime comedy anymore. It looks like an outright warning. During one highly publicized appearance, Bieber was brought out onto the stage and relentlessly bombarded with wildly inappropriate questions by Ellen and her co-hosts.
What age would you want to get married, and how many kids would you want to have?
So, like 17, so.
Would you rather have to be naked on stage? Answer Justin Bieber.
I have like little girl fans. I can't.
Imagine there was no laws. Imagine it wasn't like weird like that. Justin Bieber. I will squeeze your face.
No, I will. No.
If you had to date one of us, five.
Who it is?
At the time, the studio audience roared with laughter, totally oblivious to the darker reality of what was happening. Ellen's show was one of the absolute biggest platforms Bieber appeared on during his meteoric rise. She publicly championed him, but she also extracted a heavy price, forcing him to sacrifice his own comfort for airtime. Years later, an older, clearly traumatized Bieber would sit down for an interview and confess how hard it was being that young in the industry.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
To add massive fuel to this already raging fire, Ellen openly flaunted her deep, well-documented ties to Diddy. Diddy is a man currently drowning in allegations of heinous exploitation, with heavy rumors swirling that he took advantage of Bieber when the singer was just a child. In one resurfaced clip from her talk show, Ellen casually sits across from Diddy chatting about his infamous parties.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then no, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
This wasn't just two celebrities making small talk. This was a subtle acknowledgement of a deeply hidden elite nightlife that the general public was completely barred from. Ellen lived in Montecito, California, an ultra-wealthy, highly exclusive community known for shielding high-profile residents like Oprah Winfrey and Prince Harry. Elite communities like this mix socially, financially, and politically. They build invisible walls around themselves. Jeffrey Epstein's entire influence was largely based on this exact concept, controlling who had access to whom. When people see the exact same powerful names popping up in Hollywood VIP sections, royal palaces in London, and private Caribbean islands, their curiosity naturally shifts into deep suspicion.
It took a greeting on the gridiron between former President George W. Bush and Ellen DeGeneres to bring it into sharp focus.
It may not seem like a big deal for a celebrity to attend a football game, but I never leave my house, so it is a big deal.
Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, were invited to sit in the private box of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Former President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura, were also there.
The public still largely believes there's a massive divide between Hollywood entertainers, billionaire tech moguls, and Washington politicians. But the ultra-wealthy live in a completely different reality, playing by a set of rules that the rest of us cannot even comprehend. One specific moment completely shattered the illusion for Ellen's core fanbase and exposed exactly how this elite brotherhood operates. In 2019, the internet essentially broke when photos surfaced of Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, sitting in a private, ultra-exclusive luxury suite at a Dallas Cowboys football game. They weren't just sitting with anyone. They were laughing and joking right next to former President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura.
So I want to talk about something that happened this weekend. I know it's Tuesday. Sometimes I like to ruminate on things all day Monday so that on Tuesday you hear about it. So this weekend I went to Dallas for the Cowboys game. And thanks. But during the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together. And so people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11. But a lot of people were mad, and they did what people do when they're mad. They tweet, but here's one tweet that I loved. This person says, Ellen and George Bush together makes me have faith in America again. Exactly. Here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay that we're all different. For instance, I wish people wouldn't wear fur. I don't like it, but I'm friends with people who wear fur. And I'm friends with people who are furry, as a matter of fact. I have friends who should tweeze more. And but just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter.
Ellen wasn't the only one in her high-powered circle feeling the extreme heat of the Epstein fallout. While she was packing her bags for the English countryside, another former president she warmly supported was being dragged into the harsh lighting of a congressional oversight committee. Bill Clinton recently found himself sitting in front of furious lawmakers, forced to answer for his deeply alarming connections to the late billionaire.
In particular, very, very close to Jeffrey Epstein. She actually wrote a letter to Bill Clinton in 1995 that he should meet Jeffrey Epstein and talk to him about currency stabilization. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, and he's been very involved with this particular family, which it goes without saying has extremely deep ties to the state of Israel for an extremely long period of his career.
She approached me and she said that her friend was here. He was the King of America, and he was here with his friend Bill Clinton, and he owned his own island in the Caribbean, and his friend owned Victoria's Secret, and would I like to meet him? You know, because it would be good obviously for my modeling career. So I went to the restaurant where they were, and it was Epstein, Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and about 3 or 4 other people. It was a small group. And they all stood up while they were having dinner and shook my hand. And it was, and Bill Clinton actually held onto my hand for a very long time. It was very weird. And then they also invited me to actually go watch Clinton's speech. I was like, I obviously wanted to go watch the speech, and I did. And what I did notice was Kevin Spacey was filming all the students in the hall. And then after the speech, we went back to the hotel, and then they looked at my modeling portfolio, and the girls were sitting there, and Bill Clinton walked past and witnessed the whole modeling casting. And then Epstein looked at my modeling portfolio and said he thought I'd be perfect for Victoria's Secret, and he wanted to bring me over. And then, after that, his office started phoning, and Leslie Groff arranged to get me a visa and to get me to New York, and I was there within 3 weeks. But what I've started to realize is it was more like a syndicate, a club, because the properties, they were all very different in style. It was almost like they didn't all belong to one person. There's a lot more going on there.
The newly released unsealed Epstein files hit Washington like a massive earthquake. Among the most damaging pieces of evidence were bizarre photographs showing Bill Clinton sitting back in a hot tub and a massive swimming pool surrounded by young women whose faces were deliberately blacked out to protect their identities. Social media did what it always does. They zoomed in, analyzed the reflections, slowed the footage down, and started demanding immediate answers.
I just finished testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. I did it for 2 reasons. First, I love my country, including our Constitution. And America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents, and that we should all live under the same set of rules. This kind of democracy requires every person to play their part. And I hope that by being there today, we can bring ourselves just a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and we can search for truth and justice, and that it outweighs the partisan urge to score points and create spectacle.
During his highly publicized testimony, Clinton looked incredibly uncomfortable. When presented with a bizarre portrait that had hung in Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, a painting showing Clinton lounging in a blue dress and red heels, he nervously drank from a mug and claimed he had never seen it in person. When a representative directly asked him if he recalled the details of the photo being taken, Clinton stated he didn't even know a camera was there.
So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, and that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on the trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, who is that including?
Well, my TEL team that was working on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one in the south of Brunei.
Powerful people always demand absolute transparency right up until their own connections come under the microscope. Then the entire conversation conveniently shifts. They beg the public for context, they blame misinterpretation, they point fingers at their rivals, and suddenly millions of critical files just vanish into thin air. The system isn't broken, it is functioning exactly as it was designed to, acting as an impenetrable, bulletproof fortress for the people at the very top of the food chain.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
it'll give you a different feel.
Thank you. We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew the
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here. Or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area whether other
Yes,
individuals.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know.
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Yeah, so do you remember, were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish. I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
And was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water, this big pool, was on the same floor that there were several suites, and that, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any activities
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
And that ends this round, and we.
Whether it is a beloved daytime television host quietly fleeing to a heavily guarded mansion in the English countryside, former presidents nervously sweating through congressional testimonies, or the world's richest billionaires desperately explaining away their bizarre emails, the overarching pattern is impossible to ignore. The elite operate within a completely overlapping, highly protected circle. They attend the exact same exclusive parties, they hire the exact same dark money fixers, and they rely on the exact same government agencies to bury their darkest secrets.
The world's richest man, Elon Musk. He's always denied any close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, but they exchanged numerous emails trying to arrange a visit for Musk to Epstein's island in the Caribbean. In one of them, Musk goes on to write this: "What day, night will be the wildest party on your island?" Now, Musk has addressed those allegations directly on X. He wrote, "No one pushed harder than me to have the Epstein files released, and I'm glad that has finally happened. I had very little correspondence with Epstein and declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly on his Lolita Express, but was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. I don't care about that, but what I do care about is that we at least attempt to prosecute those who committed serious crimes with Epstein, especially regarding heinous exploitation of underage girls." So this is the fullest picture we have, but only so far.
So far, no major names aside from a disgraced British royal have faced any real criminal consequences. The public is left staring at a mountain of suspicious flight logs, terrifying survivor testimonies, and highly questionable coincidences, while the true architects of this syndicate continue to live completely untouchable lives. The trust in our institutions is rapidly fading, replaced by a chilling realization that the whole truth might remain buried forever.
When you hear that response from the Justice Department, do you believe that's sufficient?
Thanks so much for having me, Caitlin. And the answer is no, it's not. They are not responding to the law. And at this point, I think it appears clearer and clearer every day that they are knowingly violating and willfully violating the law that we passed, that Donald Trump signed into law, requiring them to turn over every responsive document. And I want to be clear, just to clarify two things that I think you alluded to. One, Donald Trump is accused of assaulting a child in those memos that you mentioned. Two, that it's not just a few dozen documents that are not being turned over. Fully half of the documents that we're aware of, some 3 million documents, have not been turned over by the DOJ. They claim they fully responded, and yet we've found over and over again, and I can tell you that oversight Democratic staff have confirmed what you have found, that these documents are missing. They were not turned over, even though they were very clearly responsive to the questions that we asked. And this appears to be part of a very broad cover-up. And you may remember back to last May, when Pam Bondi reportedly told Donald Trump he was in the Epstein files. After that, there were a lot of reports that DOJ attorneys were being asked to go redact documents, to hide documents, to remove documents from the files that had Donald Trump's name. So we're definitely continuing to look at this, but it appears that the DOJ is willfully violating the law.
What do you think is really hiding in those 3 million missing files? Was Ellen DeGeneres just a naive talk show host, or was she a crucial facilitating piece of a much darker puzzle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Actually, nothing I wouldn't eat or wouldn't drink or wouldn't try. If the person okayed it, I would eat a human. If you were at a very fancy restaurant and they were like a tiny piece of human meat.
No. I think the only way
you wouldn't try a tiny bite?
No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Is that terrible?
I know I'm about to sound completely insane, but just hear me out. This pertains to the Epstein files, the Clintons, and cannibalism, and I feel completely fine and I'm totally okay. Alright, let's do this. How do we know if someone is a cannibal? Well, they could have the Curiou disease, which is a fatal neurodegenerative disease that spreads through eating brain tissue. It has a long incubation period, 10 to 30 years. Early symptoms are headaches, coordination issues, anxiety, and inappropriate laughter. Middle stage, severe tremors and shaking, loss of balance, and slurred speech. Late stage, inability to walk, dementia, and the forever sleep. Do you know of any elites rumored to have consumed human flesh? But I'm not accusing anyone of anything, this is just a fun little joke video. With truth in the mix, in Papua New Guinea they call human long pig. We just love to have fun here. No, the Curiou disease has nothing to do with the Epstein files or anyone in them. Definitely not the Clintons. And I feel fantastic, so yeah, have a good day. Okay, thank you.
What, Ellen?
Ellen was like really weird and not nice to me for most of my career, and like because I opened for her in the 1980s.
Oh, you did?
When she was a headliner in comedy clubs, and not way before her big fame. And so then when I would do her talk show in the 2000s, she acted like we just met, and I'm like, what?
One of those types.
I'm like, what? Like that's weird. Like
right.
it's like we go way back. What? Like it's so creepy and weird, but you know, also the other thing was David Bowie had been on the show, and he was so excited that the night before that I had come to his show wearing this giant Chinese emperor outfit. He was really thrilled about it, and he talked at length about it. And she cut it out of the show, which made me so mad. And the producer, who's a really good friend of mine, had to call me and tell me, I can't believe she did this, but she cut it out of the show. But you need to know that he was going on and on about your outfit. He loves you. God said your name.
So petty.
Which is so rude.
That is so gross.
I don't know if it was personal. Maybe it was for time.
Right.
But still, I'm going to take it personally just because I decided to.
You should have sent her a note and said, send me the footage. I'll post it to my YouTube.
I know it exists somewhere.
The truth we're looking
Bryant was a first-year university student and part-time model when she was ensnared by Epstein in Cape Town.
I just turned 20 and it just seemed like my dreams were all coming true. Because, our family was struggling financially and I just really wanted to try and make a difference for my family. And I was dreaming of doing something like modeling.
Her first trip out of South Africa was to New York, where she says she abruptly found herself on the way to the Caribbean, sat next to him on his private jet to Epstein Island with the women he used to recruit her.
Basically, as the plane took off, he started forcefully touching me in between my legs. And I just freaked out and I suddenly realized, oh my God, my family aren't going to see me again. These people might kill me. I got such a fright. It was such a huge changing thing for me. And I suddenly realized I had to just be nice and be friendly because I realized that I was in great danger.
And he's assaulting you and the other women
and
there.
They were laughing. Yeah, they saw and they just laughed. So I was really, really petrified. And, it really changed me, the whole thing, going through this. And I just didn't know what to do. And I just really thought that I was going to die.